I've chosen to show you an example of the projects in which I've been involved recently, and especially at this university. There was an industrial chair called Econoving, really an innovation cluster. It was a project, public-private project, which involved universities, industries, and governmental authorities. As part of the master program, professional master program, that was run in this cluster and which I managed, we had a module called the Integration Seminar. What this means was that these people in these industries and research laboratories and governmental authorities came together around the common issue, which was urban sustainability. And they found a platform on which to work, and that was a railway station seen as a hub for transportation and communication, and a hub for a city. So a place where you can start the transformation of the city towards something better, and a place where you can test different technologies and different business models and different solutions that might work. And this required interaction. Now, in one of the work packages of this project, we have been responsible directly, and I have carried out with the students this exercise of generation of scenarios for the development of the station. And the results have contributed to the reflection that SNCF, one of the partners, carried out about Versailles Chantier train station. And by the way, now this station is in full process of transformation, and we have contributed to that directly through SNCF. Other partners were GDF Suez, Alstom, SOAR Water, Italcementi Construction, and some others. Now, this exercise lasted 1 year, the full program, and it consisted in two phases. First, building a vision, and here I show in this circle in the middle, the feedback circle, what it meant, starting with the team in blue, of course. But then we had to make an international survey, benchmarking about different projects that are relevant for city development, especially for communication hubs and train stations in particular. And then a diagnosis of Versailles Chantier station and creating a vision. And we had to do that again and again. We had to do this reflection several times to check it's part of the complexity and part of the learning to revisit again the issue after you learned more to be better. The second phase consisted in an implementation plan that we proposed and included quality management indicators, and then methods of project innovation management, and then solutions. What I want to highlight is the dialogue here. So what you see in the picture, you see an interaction between people that worked on this phase 1, phase 2, presented in teams. We had 3 teams, complementary teams. And then the jury. The jury was composed of academics, of industry people, and people from governmental authorities. And in parallel, these people in the industrial cluster have carried their own series of workshops. So we were in a very interesting interaction there. After the first year, we simply learned a lot about the issue, how difficult it is, what it takes. We learned how the situation was similar in difficulty with other projects in the world. And then in the second year, we distilled 3 ways through which the city can evolve. That was through urban renewal, urban resilience, and urban technology. I let you look at these slides for your reflection. I avoid going into too much details, but we can discuss. But what I think this example is good at is highlighting the concept of living labs. And I put here the link so that you can go yourself and start with Wikipedia to understand what living labs are. Some of you may have already heard about that. But a living lab is really a platform in which a process of integration happens and learning. This is the key word, learning how to work with each other. And not only that the stakeholders learn how to work together, but also they involve the public. So the public is part of this dialogue between experts and the wider society. For example, in that station in Versailles, we also had a survey on the travelers. What do you think about the situation? What do you think might go well or not? So we had the students involved in this study, and of course the platform itself was functioning, where people were traveling every day through that station. So this shows exactly how difficult it is to create a transformation while the system must continue to work, otherwise it would collapse. Another example is with the energy. We want to make the energy transition, like we said earlier with Germany, but the discussions typically go like that, and I've been part of the European discussions sometimes. Okay, we need to change, but the system must continue to run during this process. We cannot stop the system, the energetic system. We will collapse. Therefore, experimentation and learning takes a lot. And a final highlight. I remember, for example, the director of the innovation department in the SNCF saying something that was very important in the final meeting of the project, which was something like that. It's only now, after 3 years, at that time it was, that I really understand, we really understand why things that didn't work at the beginning didn't work. And now we understand each other, why we took those positions. And now I think we're ready to do something better. So that was exactly a critical moment up the slope of learning. And this is one of the first hard lessons that you learn in such projects. And this is real experience when you have something like that. So I encourage you to visit projects like that, starting with living labs. Now, next point in the next slide. When I said up the learning slope, it's actually up the learning curve. It is called like that. The entire process is a curve in which transformation happens. And in this slide, I simply highlight with yellow there the fact that S-curves, or S-shaped curves, are a universal pattern of change. You can check for yourself this article there, and you will find a lot of information. And by the way, we have here in this table summarized 2 approaches of management for transition: adaptive management and transition management, with some differences. I don't need to discuss this right now. You can read for yourself in the slides and come back later also to this table for your own orientation. What I want to do is to explain a bit these S-curves. What does it mean? Well, mathematically, it looks like in this slide. It's a function. It is called a sigmoid curve, and it starts with a slow increase and then with a period of saturation. It finishes with a period of saturation. And it applies, you see here the hyperlinks, to so many fields, like from artificial intelligence, biology and ecology, geoscience, psychology, sociology, political science, demography, chemistry, whatever you want. In technology, technology can mean something very small, a niche technology, or an entire system. You follow the same path. You have a period of emerging, as you see in this slide, growth and then maturation and saturation. You can check these articles for yourself in Google Scholar. Also, what I want to say is that you may find for yourself different S-curves like that, in which different technologies are placed along the curve, just to show how advanced they are on this process of maturation. For example, technologies that were kind of young technologies or embryonic technologies 10 years ago, like wind technology, solar panels and so on, biofuels, now they are much higher above on the curve. And by the way, French government also has some curves like that, where they map different technologies. That helps. It's one form of knowledge map, by the way. I trust that you would search for yourself more on this issue. I stop here after making these highlights, and I'm going to wait for your questions, and we'll continue from here. Thank you.